This is my worm farm. I feed the compost worms in this bin our leftover vegetables and fruits, used coffee from a local coffee shop, and crushed eggshells. In turn, the compost worms turn this into 100% organic fertilizer for my garden. Not to also mention that it keeps all those leftover foods from adding to the local landfill. It's been about 6 weeks since my last harvest, and the bin is full of the organic fertilizer, aka worm castings, or more simply put, worm poop. The problem is there's about 30,000 worms mixed within the bin. Formerly, I used to process about half the bin at a time by trying to feed them only on one side in hopes they would migrate to the other side of the bin. That worked kind of, but for about half of the worm population. Then I had to hand sort them out with a simple screen, and that took pretty much a whole weekend. Then I had to repeat the process the following weekend on the other half of the bin. And over the last 90 days, at standard reproduction rates, the worm bin population has grown from 16,000 worms to 32,000. I really need a different solution. A YouTube search led me to Mike's gold mining Trommel, a Rube Goldbergish looking contraption you can make yourself for around $50 from parts found at Home Depot, Lowe's, or a similar home improvement store. And the links to Mike's plans are below. Mike's design is widely used for small-scale gold mining operations by do-it-yourselfers around the planet. And Mike made a side comment that he thinks it could also be used for worm farming to harvest or separate the worms from the castings. So bingo, I thought I would give it a try. So here's my version of the Trommel. I'll give you a walkthrough and then a demonstration. So here we go.
So here's my latest project. It's a Trommel. It's used generally in gold mining to separate the ore from the unwanted dirt and rocks. I'm using it to separate my worm castings from the worms. So let me show you how it works. This is the hopper here that I'll put the combination of everything from the worm bin in. I turn the crank. It's got a nice little round crank, manual crank. It turns the cylinder there with a 1/4-inch screen, and the worm castings, which we're trying to save for our garden, falls through the screen and is directed down into the lower bucket. At the base end here is where all the worms should fall out by themselves, and of course then I can put them back in the worm bin, save them for the next round. So now we'll put this thing to use. Oh, I'm excited. Things are working nice. Inside the hopper, as you can see, there's plenty of worms and worm castings all mixed together in there. And they've been going through the trommel. And you can see the castings falling out down in the bottom. And at the very end, what do we have? I got a bucket full of worms. And you can see them in there. Undamaged. There's some bigger stuff that went through the trommel, like this piece here was the outside of a cantaloupe. That's all that's left is the skin. So those things will sort out by hand. But get the worms, put them back in the tub, back in the bin, and they'll be doing their thing again. Okay, I'm about halfway done. I still got several buckets to put through the trommel. The results, pretty spectacular. Here's the finished goods. A whole bucket of black gold. Oh, there's probably 40 pounds in there already, and we're half done. Nice granulated worm poop. Worm castings.
So here's a few tips. I found that a slow turning works best, and that the worms seem to take the ride through the trommel in good shape. They're a lot tougher than they look. And yes, a few did fall through the screen into that green bin, but I'd say it was less than 1%. So overall, I am quite pleased with the results, and I'm looking forward to my next harvest.